Hey guys, welcome back to Exit Plan. If it's your first time on this channel, please make sure that you follow, like, subscribe, and share. So, I just want to talk about fears and how we let fear stop us from moving forward. You know, as we get older, we get fear of the unknown. If you get stuck in your comfortable space and you don't choose to go outside of your box and your comfort zone, you won't grow. Now, some people don't want to grow, and that's okay. But if you're actually planning on leaving the States and you've never been out of the States ever in life, then that fear may stop you from having an opportunity of your lifetime. So, the way I look at it is this. If you let fear stop you, you'll never ever know what's possible. You'll never know. So, would you rather let that fear stop you from making some good choices? You have to think about that. So, I can say you can always have an exit plan to your exit plan. So, hypothetically, you decide, I'm going to move abroad. So, you move abroad. What's the worst that can happen? You don't like the country, you don't like the food, you don't like the culture. It's a possibility. You're not able to adapt to the language. It's a possibility. But actually, before you leave, you would already hopefully make the choices to pick a country that you think you would feel most comfortable in and take the steps to adjust and adapt prior to leaving. And we can talk about that a little bit later. But don't let fear stop you from moving forward, from dreaming, from having more. You know, as Americans, we always fall into this trap of America's the best place on the planet and we are the best, and we carry that proudly, very, very proudly on our chest, especially when we go to other countries, which, by the way, it's a little rude. We can be rude. I can say I've been guilty of that, even though I didn't realize it. I mean, I went to Paris, France at 14 years old, and went with my mom, and my mom was giving tips, and she was actually offending the waiters and the servers when she gave tips, because over there gratuity is included. So by giving extra money, she was offending them. And so they were like, oh, these rich Americans can come over here and they just think that they have money. And by the way, we weren't rich. My mom just had really good credit and great credit cards. So, but it just was an eye opener to see that, you're not always treated the same. But I have to give kudos to my mom. My mom got the travel bug probably when I was born, maybe a year after, maybe about a year after I was born. Who knows? But at any rate, I was out of the country by the time I was 2 years old. Don't remember it all, obviously, but she made sure that we left the country and experienced different cultures. And I'm grateful now. At the time, like going to Paris, I didn't want to go. I was in my little comfort bubble, and I was like, Mom, you go on that trip by yourself, have fun. I'm going to stay here for break with winter break with my friends. And I figured I was going to be going to this house party. Like, all my friends had everything planned for the break, like, by the way. So, and yes, I know you hear my New York accent. But so, I was just like, I'm staying here. And my mom's like, oh, no, you're not. And she forced me to get a passport at 14. I still have my original passport. Oh, the hair. It's horrible. But anyway, so she forced me to get the passport, and it wasn't my first time out of the country, but it was my first time abroad, like really far, not part of like some island or Canada. It was like this was a 6 hour flight from New York. So it was definitely different. I remember first arriving to Paris, I was like, I don't like this place. But as we started going around and shopping, I was like, yeah, we like this. We like Paris. And, I was actually Rusty. Remember Rusty with the beret in National Lampoon's Vacation? European Vacation? Me, right there. My mom was Chevy Chase. Yeah, yeah. She was the one that gave me the beret and made me walk around France with a beret. Yeah, it was horrible. Horrible. Don't ever do that to your kids. But so anyway, I just took the dive and just went with mom. And even though I hated that stupid hat, we went around, and I had zero fear once I got there. I look back now and I think we didn't have cell phones. Yes, I'm 55, so no, this was the 80s. We had no cell phones. We didn't even have a map. And what else did it was weird because we went out one night and we went to Moulin Rouge. Yes, I went to Moulin Rouge for New Year's Eve, and we rang in the new year um, at Moulin Rouge. And yes, my mother was taking pictures that she shouldn't have been taking because, over there, they're topless during the shows. So my mom's taking pictures, and they kept coming over to our table. Please don't take pictures of the girls. And my mom's like, ah, and I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, I was Rusty, totally embarrassed by my mom, and but I for whatever reason, when it came to fear, I had zero fear while we were there. And I'm so happy I got out of my little comfort zone. We got out of Moulin Rouge at after the show, and the streets were packed, and everybody was saying bon année, like happy new year. And we were like, oh, and we were dressed to the nines, by the way. And at 14 years old, I had heels like this high. I can't even put a heel on anymore. But somehow or another, I was really ticked at my mom. um she didn't want to leave when it was time to leave, so she waited. And by the time we got out to the street, all of the cabs had been hailed, and there were no more cabs, which even happens in New York City on New Year's Eve. Like, because cab drivers like will get you to your destination, but they won't get you back from your destination. Like, you're on your own. So somehow or another, I decided, let's start walking. And I was so ticked at my mom. I'm walking in these heels. Now it's dead of winter in Paris, France. And I'm just walking and walking. And somehow or another, I had a really good sense of direction at 14 years old. And somehow I figured out how to get us back to our hotel. Don't know how we did it. We were on the complete other side of town, but I guess I must have been watching as we were riding in the cab to Moulin Rouge, and I could see probably some landmarks and figured it out. But we were walking down cobblestone streets, down hills. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was pretty. It was super dark, but we made it back to our hotel. So don't let fear stop you from doing things and having fun adventures. You know, um, I've been on several adventures. Trust me. And by myself, I've done solo traveling. Um, it can be a little scary, but when I look back on things, like the things that I thought were so scary, they're not really that scary. I mean, I'm the person that gets like, hate to say it, bubble guts when I'm traveling. So like, I don't eat anything. I don't want to eat anything. I don't want to drink anything. Like, because I have missed a plane one time just because I checked in and I was so nervous that, I had to run to the restroom, and I already checked in. They kept calling my name. It was totally booked flight. So I'm in the bathroom. I hear my name and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to finish up and finally grab my bag and get to and they were like, well, we called you about 50 times. I was like, I was in the bathroom. Like, I've already checked in. So, I'm here. I'm at the gate. Like, I've checked in with you guys right here. So it's not like I left. You could have waited like 2 minutes. They were like, no, sorry. So, there's plenty of fear. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy to get through and to get to where you want to go, but don't let fear stop you from anything. Um, Push forward, get help. Start joining some Facebook groups, start researching the places that you want to go to. Um, if you're not happy here, I'm not saying that moving will change all of your worries, but if you go to a place where you can just breathe, then maybe you can work on those things that need to be fixed. Maybe you'll have a sense of peace. Think of the good possibilities. And when I say of like your exit plan to your exit plan, maybe it's you just take a trip for a week or 2 weeks, or maybe even a month. Put everything in storage if you can. Or if you can't put it in the storage, see if you have somebody that'll hold your things for you for a month or two. There are different ways to work around things. I literally, at one point, wanted to change, and I left New York City with twin boys. I left my husband. I'm sorry to say, I left him in New York City. And I just said, I gave my husband 2 weeks to get it together. I said, you get it together, I'm out of here. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I was getting the heck out of Dodge. And thankfully, I had a connection in Florida. I was going to move to Chicago, but I went to Florida. And I didn't know the connection was really my mom's best friend's sister, who today we're still friends, but she wound up being my landlord, and she picked me up, and she was a great support system for a new mom. I had zero idea what the heck I was doing. But I landed on my feet. So moving to a different environment, even if you're here in the States, can be daunting. So moving out of the States, yeah, there are some other things that you have to take into consideration, like their laws and the culture, the language, if it's going to be a different language. Plenty of stuff you have to take into consideration. But don't let that stop you from living a more fulfilled life if that's what you're seeking. And especially if you feel like you here in the States are marginalized at all. And if you're in fear here and you want to be someplace where you can be a little bit more free and be yourself, then don't let the fear of the unknown stop you from getting to where you need to be. And on that note, I think I've been rambling quite a bit. So make sure that you reach out to me. I can help you. I'm not a counselor. I just want to put that out there as a disclaimer. But I can say, been there, done that quite a bit. And I'm 55 and I've lived in another country. I have conquered another language. And I think I did okay. And guess what? Learning another language actually helps you anyway. I mean, I have beaten out plenty of people on jobs just because I learned a different language. Okay, I'm rambling again. So here we go. Just make sure you reach out to me. I'm Samanika. Just make sure you look at the exit plan, and I can help you plan your exit. Have a good day. See you soon.